Everyone, sorry I lost a little bit my voice yesterday. I don't know who stole it from me. And I'm very pleased to be with you this morning. I wanted just to say a few words. I want to thank my friend Marc Pritchard. When I asked him to come over, he was already committed to a lot of other things that he had to do. I don't know if there is anything more important than being in Paris, but he thought that there was something more important to do. And I insisted a little bit. I said, Marc, you have to come because people want to listen to you, they want to hear from you, and today you are leading the renovation, the reinvention of marketing and advertising. So it is my privilege to introduce my friend Marc Pritchard, the Chief Brand Officer of Procter & Gamble, a friend, a fantastic marketing man. And floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, my friend. When Maurice Levy says you need to come, you come. Thank you, my friend. Well, good morning, everyone. Let's watch a commercial.
Right? Or a hilarious beer ad. Or whatever ad this is.
Whatever. But it's a Tide ad.
What? It's a Tide ad.
What makes it a Tide ad?
There are no stains. Look at those clean clothes. What else would this be an ad for?
Diamonds?
A gift that lasts for
No, Tide.
It's time for a cold refreshment.
Tide ad.
Fall into the sleep of you.
No. Tide. No. Tide ad.
extreme.
No. Tide.
Tide!
Meet the all-new.
No, it's a Tide ad. Tide.
So, does this make every Super Bowl ad a Tide ad?
I think it does. Watch and see.
Hello again, ladies. Is your man the kind of man who would climb the height? I'm in a Tide ad.
Nice pants.
Get off my horse.
Tide ad.
Beautiful. Like a Tide ad.
Sarah? Sarah!
It's a Tide ad. Sometimes the signs are hard to ignore. Whenever you see clothes this clean, that's a Tide ad.
Clean clothes may be an indication of a Tide ad. Tide users experience 10 times more cleaning power. Tide is America's #1 detergent in America.
Yep, those are Tide ads. By the Publicis agency, I might add. And what they are, yes, sir. They're really a great example of marketing creativity, and they really sparked an amazing conversation about something like a laundry detergent. And it's exactly the kind of marketing that we want on all of our brands in order to drive what we all want, which is more growth. But in today's world of disruption, I'm sometimes asked the question, does marketing still matter? Now, as a CMO, that question is kind of surprising to me, kind of puzzling, and maybe even a little bit insulting. But when you step back and you look objectively at everything that's happening around us, it's kind of understandable. Traditional TV and print media continue their steady decline. Even the networks are now starting to cut back on ads. 7 out of 10 people say that ads are annoying, and the same amount say that they don't believe what ads even tell them anymore. Digital media is now dominant, but 1/3 of the people use ad blockers, and they're growing at about 30%. And many are cutting the cord completely with over-the-top viewing, and they're not watching any ads at all. Now let's go to retail. Retail is under tremendous pressure from the exponential e-commerce growth, which is driven by algorithms, not advertising. And there's a steady stream of direct-to-consumer startups attacking big company, like P&G, and their business models are focused on growing users with one-to-one engagement, not broad-scale advertising, and they're completely bypassing physical stores. And the agency world is swirling in change. Startup agencies everywhere, crowdsourcing models being invented. Even consulting firms are trying to get into the job. Finally, data, analytics, and technology are dominating our operations. So with programmatic media, machine learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain, meshing, VR, AR, and voice, soon the CMO, like me and Tony, will be replaced with something like this. So it's kind of no wonder people ask the question, does marketing still matter? Well, I'm going to give you my answer, and that is a resounding yes. Absolutely. Of course marketing matters. But marketing as we know it is being disrupted. But we all have to ask ourselves, are we going to stand by and let this happen to us? Well, the answer to that is a resounding no. We, and I mean the collective we in this room, are going to take back control of marketing so we lead mass disruption. The best way to deal with disruption is to lead it. And that's what we're going to do. And when I say mass, it's because we're going to disrupt mass marketing as we know it, and mass because it's on a massive scale. Now, we've already started. Think about it. Last year alone, we learned some valuable lessons and a lot of things changed. Digital media players started to grow up because we collectively held them accountable to give us the transparent data that we deserved. And it exposed that maybe all that investment wasn't so great after all. We got viewability data, and we found out that the normal news feed, an ad, you watch it for maybe 1.7 seconds, which is little more than a glance. We discovered with third-party audience data that we annoy people by serving too many ads to people who don't want to be reached, and we do it too many times. And with brand safety, we found that it is possible to find user-generated videos that are safe, but that doesn't mean they're high quality, unless, of course, you really love cat videos. So with the spotlight also shined brightly on consumer data privacy, we also confirmed we need to protect consumer data, and we need to maintain their trust, and also we need to exert the expectation on others that they are doing everything they can to protect privacy. That is including, and especially, the walled gardens. So these lessons led to a bit of a collective moment of clarity for all of us. As CMOs, we can no longer relinquish control, chase the shiny objects, be overwhelmed by big data, accept promises without evidence, and blindly cede control and power to algorithms. It's time for us to step up and take back control of our own destiny. Now, for example, as transparency exposed a lot of digital waste, P&G took action by voting with our dollars. We reduced spending between 20 and 50% on the big digital players, and we reinvested that into things that mattered more and performed better. We gathered consumer data on our own platforms, and we can do that because our trusted brands touch 5 billion people on the planet every day. And of course, with GDPR, it compelled us to step up our efforts even higher on transparency and protection so we could maintain that trust. We accelerated performance analytics. We hired our own data scientists. We partnered with new ad tech partners, and we reduced media waste while we were able to increase media reach. At the same time, we began serving people with amazing new technologies. We now operate in a constant state of experimentation. We use the lean innovation techniques that were founded in Silicon Valley, and we focus that on creating our own seed stage experiments. We have more than 100 seed stage experiments, while we also have been acquiring our own DTC startups, like Native and Snowberry. Bottom line, we took more control, and it's leading to more market share growth and more sales growth across more brands and countries. And the brands that are the most disruptive, like SK2 and Olay, are growing in double digits, with SK2 growing 30% a year. Now, P&G is clearly not alone in this category. All of you in this room are doing the same thing. You're grabbing the reins, to act. And together, what we're doing is transforming the industry through mass disruption. From the wasteful mass marketing of the past to mass one-to-one brand building fueled by digital and data technology. It's high time for disruption, let's face it, because what have we been doing for the last century? We've been blasting messages far and wide, as far as we could get there, hoping people would pay attention to it. Some call it spray and pray. Now, Wanamaker had a principle. He was a department store owner, and he said, look, half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half. Well, the beauty of having data and technology is now we know which half is being wasted, and we know which half matters, and we're able to invest that and innovate into one-to-one experiences on a mass scale so we can accelerate what we're doing. So there's 4 key actions that we're taking. Reinventing media, reinventing advertising, reinventing agency partnerships with our partners like Publicis, and reinventing marketing so marketing can be a force for good and a force for growth. And I want to share these with you openly today for your consideration, because the bottom line is no one company can do any of this alone. And the more we all focus on transforming, the more we all focus on driving, taking control, we will drive the growth that's needed in this business. So let's start with action 1. Reinvent media. From wasteful mass blasting to mass reach with one-to-one precision. Now, since the dawn of radio and TV, what have we been doing? Broadcasting to broad demographic target audiences with huge waste. Well, that's changing. Now, we still need to reach a lot of people with our brands. We're a consumer products industry. We make Pampers and Loves and Tide and Charmin toilet paper, and Bounty paper towels, and all those kinds of things. So people still need to clean their clothes, they need to brush their teeth, they need to wash their hair, they need to wipe their countertops. But data and analytics is now facilitating greater precision so we can remove the waste and increase the effectiveness of where we're going. Let's take China, for example. 70% of our media is in China, and more than 25% of our sales are now in e-commerce. And we have one of the largest data management platforms, or DMPs, in the country. And we directly buy most of our media. We get real-time viewing data, and it enables us to do propensity modeling, not only across all of our platforms, but with big partners like Alibaba. So we can engage people when and where it matters and reduce excess frequency. We've already saved 30% of digital waste, and we've increased digital reach by 60%. In the US, as well as here in France, we have a DMP that covers about 80% of the population. And we have anonymous audience data, which we combine with purchase data into a data and analytics lab. And what that allows us to do is to move from those broad target audiences that we've been using for a century, like women ages 18 to 49, which is kind of a broad target audience, to much more precise audiences. We call them smart audiences. So like first-time moms, first-time washing machine owners, first-time homeowners. So what that allows us to do is to reach the right people at the right place at the right time with the right message, and not just spray and pray. Now, this learning lab also is helping us deal with one of the single biggest problems in mass marketing that annoys consumers more than anything: too many ads. Now, we asked ourselves, how often do people really need to see our ads in order to understand them? I mean, actually, it's not rocket science to know that if it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide. So what we did is we found, though, that the average person was being reached 3 times a month with our ads. But the average was hiding the fact that many people were being reached 10 times a month, and a lot more people were being reached 20 times a month. So we were annoying the hell out of people. And so we're cutting off that long tail of excess ads now because we have more precise data. Now, you may think this sounds like common sense, but now we've hit an inflection point where we can reinvent media to achieve mass reach with one-to-one precision. And that allows us to go after that elusive 50% of waste that Wanamaker was searching for. while making the ad experience better for consumers. But media reinvention is just half the battle. The other thing we need to do is reinvent advertising from less clutter to mass clutter, that is, to less doing more. Now, when you think about it, advertising hasn't changed that much. I mean, how much real innovation has there been in the last 50 years? In the 1950s, ads were 2 minutes long. Well, now we have ads that are 2 seconds long. That's not really very innovative. So, and as media got more complex, what did we all do? We added more ads. So we just created more clutter and we created more noise. And so that really didn't break through at all. What it did was just make it more annoying for consumers. So it's high time for disruption. And that means doing less, but doing it with a much greater impact. One of our creative directors said it best. It said, it's not about less is more, it's about less doing more. For example, Olay. We were running 6 different ads at a time in many different markets and changing every few months because we thought that would keep it fresh, adding to the clutter. What we decided to do is actually turn down the noise, and we focused on one national ad for the entire year. With fewer ads, we then started focusing on more one-to-one engagement. And we did one-to-one engagement with something called Olay Skin Advisor. So what this is, it's an AI-powered system. It lets you take a selfie, and then what that does is it diagnoses your skin versus millions of other skin types, so you can compare your skin's age to your actual age. It's actually a frightening experience because you see just how old you really look, at least for me, that is. Not Maurice. They said Maurice's skin age was 29. So what it does, though, is after it does your skin age, it then gives you expert product advice and just advice on how to take care of your skin. And what happens is the algorithm actually gets smarter every time you take a selfie, and that benefits you, and it benefits all the users. So this is not an ad at all. What it is a useful and engaging experience, and that's where advertising is going. And also, by doing less push advertising, we're doing more pull influencing. And we use data and analytics to choose the strongest and most influential opinion leaders, who then we engage with, and they engage with their social media following. So that has actually reduced a fraction, it's a fraction of the cost of advertising now, but it has a huge impact because it pulls in people who want to be engaged with the brand, and rather than just pushing out messages to everyone. And it's working. As soon as Olay turned this on, their business went from declining to growing. And they are now growing at 10% worldwide by doing this. And as I mentioned before, SK2, which has been doing this, is in its 2nd year in a row of growing at 30% a year. So that is less doing more. Now, changing what we do on media and advertising is leading to the next thing we're doing, which I think is one of the most exciting things, which is reinventing our agency partnerships. And we're doing this together with our partners from places like Publicis. But what it means is we've been outsourcing too much of our work, and we're going to switch to getting P&G's people's hands on the keyboard. We need to do a lot more of this. Because what's happened over time is marketers have outsourced and delegated way too much of our work to outside suppliers and to outside agencies. And there's too many touch points between brand managers and consumers. And what brand managers have been doing is too much project management and not true brand management. So what this does is flip that. We need brand people closer to consumers, like they were in a startup. And we don't need project managers, we need brand entrepreneurs. And they need to get their hands dirty. And what that means is working differently with our agencies, focusing together on what P&G does best and what our agency partners do best. So let's start with media. Data and analytics now allows more of our people inside our company to do media planning, so we can do more of our planning in-house. When it comes to buying, we can do a lot more of the deals directly with different companies and really removing the layer in between. Now, and if a startup can buy digital media, then why can't the people on Tide and Ariel and Fairy and Head & Shoulders do the same thing? They can, and they will. And as we get our hands on the keyboard, we're also transforming creativity. And we have new ways of working together with our partners. We're implementing what we call fixed and flow models, investing a fixed amount for work that requires experienced creative people, like big campaigns, and we supplement that with a flow to the work approach through open sourcing, not only outside of our current agency partners, but inside our current agency partners with breakthrough technologies like Publicis is doing on Marcel, which, if any of you saw yesterday, was a great way to open source within the actual agency itself. So, for example, SK2 has a fixed contract on their Change Destiny campaign, and then they flow to different agencies in order to be able to create specialty videos, search and social, like Marriage Market Takeover and Expiry Date. Now, this is also leading to co-location with our agency partners, rather than having massive distances between where we and our agencies are. So then, brand entrepreneurs can have their brand assets and creativity in real time through command centers like the one you see here in Singapore, where what you have is a data scientist on one side and a creative on the other side, and you're engaging with consumers on a one-to-one basis, day to day. And there's another change. Many of us rue the day that media and agencies, especially this group over here, really hated that. So, many of us rue the day that media and creative split. And what's happening is we're now returning to one-stop shops. So we're reuniting media and creative and bringing them back together. And this is important to hear because, drum roll please, Publicis is exactly the one that did most of this. In fact, what Publicis has done, Publicis consolidated Saatchi, Publicis, and Publicis Media, Leo Burnett Creative, and MSL PR into one agency. They co-located, so everybody would be in the same place. And what they did is they demonstrated that power of one with their people cloud, so using data, and now what they're doing is they're taking the Marcel database to be able to completely reinvent the way they handle creativity. This reinvention on Publicis, Artur Sadoun said it yesterday, we need to break the industry. And what's happening is Publicis is disrupting the agency industry in order to be able to come up with breakthrough creativity, and we're proud to be with them. This is nothing short of revolutionary, and once again, they're living the motto that my dear friend Maurice Levy said, which is, Vive la différence. My very poor French accent. So, this is not just saving money. This is reinventing media, reinventing creativity, and that leads to action 4, reinventing brands and companies to be good citizens of the world, where marketing matters even more because what we're doing is we're a force for good and we're a force for growth. And the time is right now because that's what people expect of brands and companies now. They want to know what our values are. They want to know what our point of view is on things like the environment, on gender equality, on racial equality. And we recognize that our leadership brands and companies can impact each of these things because we have very wide reach. So we're using our brand's voices for good. Some examples. On gender equality, Always Like a Girl has changed attitudes on gender bias. 76% of people now think like a girl is a positive expression versus only 19% before. Ariel is demonstrating right here in France that gender equality means having men share the load when it comes to doing laundry. And here it is.
Attention, pied. Fais attention, c'est très très chaud. Alors, qui a du linge à laver? Dring, dring. Allô? Je suis désolée, je peux vraiment pas te parler. Il faut que j'y aille. J'ai une montagne de choses à faire.
Tout ce qu'ils voient, ils copient.
Ok. On s'appelle demain?
Mais est-ce qu'ils apprennent que la lessive n'est qu'un travail de femme?
Non, non, ça va. Ouais, je suis toujours là.
Ou est-ce qu'ils voient leur papa le faire aussi? Partageons les tâches. Toujours conservé hors de portée des enfants.
Excellent. Very good. Nice work. Now, on racial equality, the talk from our My Black is Beautiful brand is shining the light on the racial bias that still affects black parents and their children that they face every day in America. While Pantene's Strong is Beautiful celebrated the strength and beauty of black women. Vicks and Secret supported LGBTQ equality and power. And Head & Shoulders celebrated Gus Kenworthy, an openly gay athlete in the Olympics, and flew the pride flag for the first time in an ad. On environmental sustainability, P&G has donated 13 billion liters of clean drinking water while sponsoring original content with Nat Geo, the power of clean water, so we can shine the light on the 2 billion people who still don't have clean water. And Head & Shoulders, Fairy Liquid, and Herbal Essences are recycling beach plastic for their bottles so we can stop the flow of plastic in the ocean. And finally, we recently used our voice in the 2018 Olympics to shine the light and create a conversation about things like bias. But look, let's face it, P&G's just one company. No one company can do all this alone. And that's another difference that's happening. We're reinventing our brands and companies to be good citizens in the world by, for the first time, collaborating with each other to be a force for good. So for example, this hashtag See Her movement has nearly 100 companies that are focusing on gender equality in advertising. The Unstereotype Alliance has more than 24 companies that are focusing on eliminating stereotypes in advertising. The hashtag Free the Bid program has more than 100 agencies and companies focused on creating gender equality for directors of commercial production, because only 11% of commercial production directors are women. That's ridiculous. 40 companies have united in the UK Plastics Pact, and the Renewable Energy Buyers Alliance has 100 companies who are making renewable energy the new normal. This and other efforts are inspiring collaboration for the better world. All of us compete on the basis of innovation and creativity, but what we're united on is to use our brands and companies to be a force for good and a force for growth. So, let's end where we started. Does marketing still matter? Absolutely. It absolutely still matters more than ever. But marketing is being disrupted, and we, the collective we, are embracing it and leading that disruption. And it's mass disruption. Mass because it's disrupting mass marketing as we know it, and mass because it's disruption on a mass scale. We're reinventing media to have mass reach with one-to-one precision, advertising to be able to have less doing more, agency partnerships to get our hands on the keyboard, and marketing to be a force for good. And we're in this together, collaborating like never before. In my view, there's never been a better time to be in marketing, and never been a time where marketing matters more. So what I'm asking all of you to do is take control. Take control of your own destiny so we can move this industry forward and deliver what we all want, which is more growth. And I'm looking forward to partnering, innovating, and reinventing the future with all of you. Because yes, marketing still matters. Thank you.